Guys, today I'm going to be giving you the top 5 questions you should be asking your realtor before you hire them.
You better get fired up.
Happy Monday, guys. Hopefully you had a wonderful weekend. I hear we've got a holiday today, so if you guys are bankers, you're probably taking the day off. Hopefully some of our school teachers are getting the day off. I don't know if they're getting the day off, to be honest with you. I've got a couple friends that are school teachers. But anyway, hopefully you're enjoying your day either way. Today we're going to talk about the top 5 questions that you should be asking your realtor before you hire them. Now, a lot of people are pretty good at this. They may not be asking the 5 questions that I'm about to give you, but when it comes to a listing agent, they do interview them. A lot of times they'll talk to 2 or 3 agents, which I think is great. For some reason on the buy side, they just don't do that same work, right? They don't do the interviews. And I think you should. I think you should have a 20, 30, 40-minute sit down with 3 different agents, get a good feel for them, ask these 5 questions so that you know who to work with best. There is a big difference between agent A and agent B, not just as a listing agent, but as a buyer's agent. So here are the 5 questions that I would ask. Number 1, what are your available hours? I think that's incredibly important. And there's kind of a lot of questions that could stem off of that too, based on what their response is. So for me, if you ask me that, I'm going to say, hey, I'm up at 5:30 every single day and I shut my phone off at 9 o'clock at night. That's what, 15 and a half hours every day, except Sunday. On Sundays, I turn my phone off. I do still watch it if there's something contractually that we're dealing with. It's a negotiation or there's a closing issue or whatever. I'm going to reach out to you on a Sunday. But 99% of the time, unless that's happening, I'm going to ignore you until Monday, right? Because I'm spending time with my family. But 15 and a half hours times 6, what is that? That's 92 and a half hours. I'm available 92 and a half hours the rest of the week. So you should be able to get me. Now, if you want to see a home and I'm not available, I got a whole team also. So you're never going to miss an opportunity. Someone's going to help you, and I'm still the guy who's working with you at the end of the day. They might open the door for you once or twice, but at the end of the day, I'm your guy. That is a solid answer, in my opinion. All right. If you hear, well, I mean, I'm always available for you guys. That's a BS answer. To me, if you say I'm always open, that means you don't have office hours. What time do you wake up? Because if you wake up at 7, that means you're not available at 6:30 a.m., right? And even if you do wake up at 6:30, are you actually at work, actually answering your phones and moving at 8, 9 o'clock? If you're not, well, then you're not available at all times. So that answer is not an answer I would like. If you're going with a top agent, especially as a buyer's agent, also ask them, do you have a team? What happens if you're busy and I want to see a home? If they don't have backup, that means you might lose an opportunity. That's a big deal, especially in a hotter market, especially if you're in a lower price point, because the lower price points, even in a neutral market, it tends to be a hotter market, right? So that's a big question, availability. Number 2, this is less of a question and more of a talk to me. I like to say talk to me a lot, right? So talk to me about 2 to 3 negotiations that you were a part of where you did something that most other agents wouldn't do that positioned your buyer or seller exceptionally well. That is going to tell you if they're truly a good negotiator. If they just say, well, the home was 400 grand and we came in at 390 and we got it. Okay, well, that's called luck, right? Because you didn't tell me what you specifically did other than say, hey, let's come in 10 grand low. Did you pitch it? Did you write a letter? Was there something you said? Was there data you provided? What did you do or say? What actions did you take that are different than other agents to get that person that deal as a buyer, or to get that higher price as a listing agent, or to get that exact closing date you wanted, or to get that personal property that you wanted? What did you do that no other agent or most other agents would not have thought to do that helped that client? Did you do a 1031 exchange and you saved them a ton in taxes? Did you get them a lease back, which helped with convenience after closing? Right? Those types of things are really going to tell you if they're a great negotiator or if they just kind of do what everybody else does. I'll tell you, 80, 90% of agents do the same thing that 80, 90 other percent of other agents do, right? But it's those top 5, 10% of agents that I see that are always thinking outside of the box, always doing something unique, always asking great questions. Hey, if we were to do this, would you find it attractive? No, but if you could do this, which is very similar, it would. We could probably do that. Let me call my client and see if that's something we could do. That's what top agents do, right? A lot of the 80% of agents that, well, I'll just say the majority of agents, they're just throwing an offer out there. They're not calling. If I get 10 offers on properties, I might get 2 or 3 phone calls going over the offer. That means 7 or 8, which is 70 or 80% of agents are not in any way going above and beyond to pitch that offer. And that's a big deal, right? A lot of you guys in this area, you're looking at $300,000, $400,000, $500,000, $600,000, maybe more on a home. It's a big purchase. If I'm hiring you as my buyer's agent, I want someone representing me. Make that phone call, make that connection, build that relationship, present our lender, present our transaction coordinator, present our team, and make us look amazing to that seller, right? You want to know that. And I think by asking what they've done, 2 or 3 negotiation tactics they've used that really set them apart, that's a great way to find out. Number 3, how many homes have you sold in the last 12 months is a great question. But don't forget to add, after you get the answer to that question, wait till you get that answer, then say how many were buyers and how many were sellers. Why? Because there are a lot of agents out there who sold 25 homes last year, which is great. That's a great number of homes to sell. But 23 of them were to buyers and 2 were to sellers. So you've got 2 experiences with sellers in the last 12 months, and I'm a seller. I don't know if we're going to be a good fit because I don't know if your business is set up to work with sellers as much as it is buyers. Whereas I'd rather have somebody doing 18 deals a year, but 16 out of those 18 are sellers. I know you know sellers. It's a different machine. It just is. It's a completely different checklist. It's completely different things that you're focused on. Now, if they did 25 and they say, hey, I did 13 buyers and 12 sellers, okay, that's understandable. But get those numbers from them so you know the type of agent you're getting and the focus that they have. I can't tell you how many listing agents will pick up a buyer and then that buyer will call me and say, how do I get out of this deal? All this guy does is sit and focus on marketing his listings, but I can't get the guy to show me any homes. So really ask those deep questions, right? If you guys have any questions that you suggest asking that I might be missing here on my list of 5, please put them in the comments. Let's move on to number 4. What value do you offer your buyers or sellers, depending upon whether you're a buyer or seller, that no other agents do? What type of value? You ask me that question, I can go on for 10, 15 minutes telling you what I do differently that most other agents are not going to do for you. And I've got a whole different pitch for sellers that I got for buyers. And that's all I'm thinking all day long is what can I do to position my buyers better? What can I do to position my sellers better? How can I educate them? What can I give them? How can I set them up? What kind of negotiation tactics? What can I learn about the paperwork? And all of those little bullet points I'm focused on, right? Because a lot of buyers and sellers just aren't going to ask. They're going to trust you, which is great, but I want to deliver no matter what. But absolutely in those circumstances where I'm going to be interviewed, I want to blow your damn mind. I want to blow the doors off the hinges because I want you to know that you've got someone who is actually worth their commission, right? You get charged a lot of money and you're buying something worth a lot of money. It's worth it. If you've got the right house and you're paying the big bucks for that house and you got the right person and you're getting a good investment out of that. If you're not and they can't describe to you what the value difference is, go with the cheaper person every single time. That's not me pitching cheap people. That's me saying in the absence of value, go with price. If they can justify their price because they give you such amazing value, go with the valuable person. I do all the time. I hate going with the cheap guy. Because if you've ever gone with a cheap guy, you know what cheap gets you. It gets you a crap product. But if you can't find somebody who can pitch their value, then I'm going to go with the cheap guy every single time. Number 5. And I think this is the best one on both sides. I've never had a buyer ask me this. And I don't know why they don't. I've had a couple sellers ask this, probably because they're watching my videos. What is your average sales price to original asking price ratio? Right? And I specifically want to know if I'm a seller with your sellers, if I'm a buyer with your buyers. Because as a list agent, I'm trying to crank that price up. I got a lot of different things that I'm doing to crank that price up. I want to get you 101, 102% asking price. That's the goal. As a buyer's agent, I want to get that price down. It's important that you know that. Because if you get a buyer's agent who averages on the buy side 100%, versus me, who averages 97%, and you're looking at $400,000 homes, 3% is $12,000 you just lost because you went with person A over person B, right? So what a great question to kind of see how good their negotiation skills truly are. We all say we're good at negotiating. If you can get that ratio, you know how good they are. And that's something that's really easy for us to look up. And you should be asking them, what is yours and what is the competitor? Here's the other two people I'm talking to. What is theirs? Because now if I'm going up against somebody named, I don't know, John Johnson, and I say he's at 93%, and John Johnson says he's at 97%, well, now you can say, hey, I'm getting a discrepancy here. I want to see the actual numbers. If we're both saying 97%, now you can trust that that number's true. But I'll go in, even if I don't know my competition, I'll say this is the average agent in Port St. Lucie, or maybe in your specific HOA, or maybe it's a different city, or whatever it is. And here's me. And now you can compare apples to apples, what you can expect in a difference. I think that is a very important question to ask. So guys, there you go. Again, what are your available hours? Tell me about 2 to 3 negotiation tactics that have really set your clients apart. How many homes have you sold specifically as a buy agent or a sell agent? What value do you offer that no other agent offers? And lastly, what is your average sales price compared to original asking price? Again, if you guys have better questions than I've got, man, throw them in the comments. We'd love to hear them. Otherwise, have a phenomenal day, and we'll see you next Monday at 11 o'clock. Take care.